welcome to my channel. I am the Bloody Baroness, and this is Eerie Echoes. For some reason, I am a person that attracts weirdos. I am really cute, also I've been told, and very nice to people. I'm also awkward in an adorable type of way. Unfortunately, despite all of those qualities, the crazies are always drawn to me. This story is not so much scary as it is creepy. I just want people to be aware of their surroundings and be careful, judging a book by its cover. Actually, my day started off normal enough. My normal weekend routine went according to plan. Only this day, I met a seemingly nice guy who really seemed to have everything going for him. It was Saturday afternoon, and I was jogging in the park in my neighborhood. As I came around the bend of the street that neared my house, there he stood, this gorgeous man. He looked like he had just stepped out of GQ magazine. Nice suit and tie, dressed to the nines. He smiled and said hi to me, then proceeded to tell me how cute I was and asked for my number. Honestly, I was shocked that such a hot guy would be interested in me. I was in my yoga tank and shorts, hair tied back, no makeup, sweaty from the jogging, etc. But no alarm bells went off yet. Anyway, I obliged, gave him my number, and got his. Then went on my way. Within a few seconds of getting into my doorway, my phone went off. It was him texting. I found it odd that he would be texting so quickly. I brushed it off as nerves maybe, and sent emojis back. I thought nothing else of it for the rest of the day. I turned my cell phone off and proceeded to take a nap. This is when another alarm should have gone off in my head, but I let it slide yet again. When I turned on my cell phone after I woke, there were countless texts, calls, and voice messages from the guy asking why I didn't answer his texts and calls. I found this very strange, to be hounding someone you just met hours earlier, as if you two were already in a relationship. So I called him and told him if he didn't chill out, he should lose my number. He apologized and said it would never happen again. He then proceeded to ask me out on a date. I accepted, thinking what harm could come from going out for dinner and getting to know someone. Fast forward to date night. I find out a lot about him, like his prestigious educational background, his family's social standing. Let's just say they're a very prominent group of people. I was intrigued and everything seemed to be going fine. That is until he started mumbling to himself at first. I thought it was just me overthinking things. But when he started to answer his own questions, I got freaked out. While he continued to mumble to himself, I interjected, "Hey, is there anything you would like to talk about?" He replied firmly, "No." Well, at this moment, I knew this would be our first and last date. I suddenly understood why a handsome man from a well-to-do family was still single. It was clear that he had mental issues that needed to be addressed by a mental health professional. It was also clear to me that I would not be seeing him again for any more dates. For some reason, I really can't pinpoint how, but it seemed clear to him as well. So we ate our dinner and the rest of the date went on in complete silence, and we went our separate ways. Or so I thought. A couple of weeks went by and I was relieved that he hadn't contacted me, and I was thinking it was very obvious that the first date was horrible and unnerving and that we'd never see each other again. I mean, I wasn't ghosting, but there's really nothing further to discuss at this point. There wasn't going to be any more dates or any more interaction for that matter. I was wrong. A couple of Saturdays later, I was on my usual jogging path, and guess who else was there this time? And workout gear, smiling from ear to ear, running towards me. None other than Prince Charming himself. I was mortified. "Hey you," he exclaimed with excitement. "Oh, hi. How are you?" I answered uneasily. He replied, "Okay, just thinking about you and our future together." I was at a loss for words at this point, and then it dawned on me that I didn't make my point clear, that I wasn't interested in him, and that this sort of thing will continue to go on because he's not catching the non-communication hint. So I said, "Look, you're a nice guy, but I don't think you're the guy for me. I wish you the best in life. Good luck." Well, he said he understood and kept on with his run, as I proceeded to head home. I truly thought that was the end of it. But after another week passed, he began sending me texts again, manically back to back, begging and pleading for another date, because he knew I was the one, and how his family wanted him to settle down and get married soon, and how he'd surely die without me. I didn't answer. I just blocked his number and was just over the nonsense. The next week, my family went on an annual camping trip. This is where shit got real. Initially, he starts calling me from random numbers saying he knows where I am and he's watching me. Initially, I shrugged it off. But when he told me what state my family and I were camping in, I freaked the hell out because I hadn't told him any of this. He proceeded to tell me how anything could happen to me or my family, because of how powerful and connected his family was and how they make people disappear. I told him to F off and leave me alone, but to no avail. The harassment continued off and on for another month. During that time, whenever I would leave the house or go to work, run errands, or just get out, I would notice his car parked across the street from my house watching me. I never told him where I lived. We'd only been on one date, for God's sake. I was in a lot of distress, barely sleeping because every little sound I would hear in the night, I would think it was him trying to break into my house. I tried to remain vigilant and undaunted in his presence because I didn't want him to think I was afraid of him and his antics. He knew everything about me, things we had never discussed. He continued to threaten bodily harm if he didn't get his way. I stayed steadfast, but finally decided to tell my best friend, who is in the military and works in law enforcement, about the ordeal, just to get some insight on my legal options to see if I could get help. My best friend asked for his name. I'd only remembered his first name. I'd forgot his last name. The stress of it all had taken its toll. So he traced him by his phone number, many of which were registered to him or his close family members. I don't know what my best friend did or said, but I haven't had any more of these terrifying ordeals happen. I am grateful he didn't follow through with his threats to harm me. I learned my lesson. Just because someone is drop dead gorgeous doesn't mean they can't be batshit crazy.